Hello and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box, where today we celebrate the 1981 solo debut of Stevie Nicks. Now, one might ask, when you're sitting on top of the world, as Fleetwood Mac was in the early 80s, why do a solo album as a member of Fleetwood Mac? And I suppose the simple answer is, more good music, but I think there was something else. I think it was really good for Stevie to prove that in a band with so many gifted songwriters and so many prominent singers, that she had a voice of her own that was valid, unique, and interesting, both with fellow songwriters and singers Lindsey Buckingham and Christine McVie, and on her own. And I think that that really helped to validate a lot because the music did sound different than Fleetwood Mac. Obviously, it had her voice, which was so unique, one of the most unique female voices in rock and in all of music. But it was interesting to hear from a songwriting perspective what Stevie was interested in. And it was also interesting to hear her collaborate with people outside of Fleetwood Mac. And her collaborators on this album included very famous people in their own right. There was, of course, Tom Petty, and there was Don Henley, two very famous people. And this set Stevie on course for a long and very fruitful solo career. One could argue that she was one of the top vocalists of the 20th and 21st centuries. And the album itself was really well recorded, well produced, and I personally highly recommend the MoFi vinyl version from that was released not long after the official debut, if you can get your hands on it, because wow, that sounds really good. And it had a great cast of musicians on it, because much like how Fleetwood Mac were great musicians in their own right, she worked with some really interesting collaborators. Mike Campbell, of course, from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Don Felder, a fellow Eagle of Don Henley, of course, great drummer Stan Lynch. So many great people. Bill Elliott, great session piano guy. Waddy Wachtel on guitar, perfect. Just a really, really great album. And you could argue that it was her best solo endeavor, but 1987 also had her at what is arguably her best with The Other Side of the Mirror. But she really made a statement that she didn't need Fleetwood Mac to succeed. And much like Phil Collins was both in Genesis and doing solo work in the 80s, so too was Stevie Nicks. Would be nice if she and Lindsey could do some work again now that retirement may be around the corner for Fleetwood Mac. Who knows? Just throwing that out there. In any case, enjoy both Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks' wonderful solo career. Like, subscribe. We will see you next time. Take care.